I think this is good. And I think each and every one of you are here, with us. There is something that is prevalent. There is something that is prevalent. That is, everyone wants to understand God. Every one of us wants to understand the divine. And because everyone wants to understand God, we want to understand the divine, we find ways and means to understand the divine. But the irony is that no matter the different ways, the different means at which we try to understand the divine, we try to understand God, we are not able to. You cannot understand God using only words. You cannot. It's a combination of so many things. Just as people express themselves in different ways. Either they express themselves through music, or they express themselves through art, or they express themselves through speaking, or they express themselves, the different ways that we as humans, we express ourselves, which is unique. It is very unique. Each of these expressions stand on its own. Whether you use words, whether you use music, whether you use, sound, whether you use, art to try to understand God, each and every of these expressions stands on its own. And hence, there is an ancient philosophy that says that you cannot understand the divine using words alone. It is impossible. What you will get is just people that are carried away by words. It's just like when the ancient philosophers, they say that do not explain a dream to a fool. What do you guys understand by that? Do not explain dreams to a fool. This is not my word. It is the word of the ancient teachers. Why? For when you explain dreams to a fool, the fool now falls in two categories. Either he starts believing the dreams as reality, or he starts creating more theories about the dreams, which is basically the same thing which the ancient says, do not explain God to men by words. For when you explain the concept of God to men by words, when the intelligence of the man is not strong enough, when the intelligence of the man is not matured enough, the man starts believing the words as reality, or the man starts creating more concepts, imaginary concepts, based on the word that has been explained to him. So you cannot understand God by words alone. It's a deep reflection. It requires deep introspection. For you must understand that many of us, the understanding that we have of God is based on what has been explained to us, not what has been experienced by us. And that is ironical. It is ironical. It is ironical in the sense that it is what we chew. And many of us, it's basically what we are chewing, you know. We understand God, or our faith develop about God based on what someone has explained to us of God, not based on our inner inquiry. Understand, your inner inquiry is a totally different thing. The day you sit down and you start doing inner introspection, where you start examining yourself internally on every word, on every sentence that you have heard. And when you truly start, examining yourself internally on every word, on every sentence, something else start coming to life inside of you. Your understanding, your expression. The reason why the ancient philosophers and the ancient teachers says, do not explain dreams to a fool. Do not explain God with words to men. Is because there are certain people that are naturally intellectually lazy. Not as an insult, but it's a reality. Intellectually, they are lazy. And hence, because they are intellectually lazy, they lack the ability for deep inner reflective penetration of true meaning of God. They lack it. And because they lack it, when they hear a word, because of their relationship with the person, they believe it, they take it. They take what they hear as a reality, and they start building on what they hear. And hence, when you try to explain something else to them, they don't accept it. They question it, because it is not in alignment with what they hear or what they have already been told. So you cannot understand God by words. It is impossible. Words are part of the ladder. It is not the end of the ladder. Just like saying the ladder is what takes me to the top. No. The ladder is part of the steps, but the ladder is not the top. Are you understanding my point, my brothers, my sisters? The ladder is part of the steps. The ladder is not the top. So, to understand the divine properly, it always requires going within yourself. It is not about the words. We use the words as means of interpretation. But you must understand, interpretation falls in two directions. Bias, emotionally biased, based on the emotional bias we have. And based on, the mental maturity of the individual. Interpretations always fall in these two directions. Emotional bias, intellectual bias, religious bias. It falls in these directions. And that is why some years or some time ago, I told you that truth is not singular. It is a triangle. There are three parts to truth: your part, their part, and the truth. So when someone is saying this is truth, no, that is just your own truth. For your truth is different from another person's truth. And that truth is also different from the main truth. So you see, it forms a triangle. When I say explain yourself, you can only explain your part of yourself. You cannot explain another person's part of themselves. So you see, a part of yourself that you explain, the other person's part of themselves that they explain, is all totally different from the original part. Do you see that? So the ancient says, to understand God, to understand the divine, it is not through words. Words are nice, just like I'm explaining to you right now. I'm speaking these words to you. But just because you are hearing these words does not mean you have started becoming spiritual. Are you understanding me? So just because you hear the word of God does not mean that you have now become a spiritual person that is in alignment with God. No, it does not. For what is it that really makes a person spiritual? It is by peeling those words and looking for the essence that is in those words. But the unfortunate reality of many of us, the unfortunate reality of our existence, is that we create our life around the words of people. Thank you very much, Miss B. That is the unfortunate reality. We create our life, we create our existence, we create our perception of the divine around the word of people, not from our inner knowing. But you do need the words of people to be able to assess your inner knowing. You need the word, but the word is not the end. It is just part of the ladder. So now, how then do you realize God? To understand this properly, you will see that the reason why, even though you've heard a lot of spiritual topics, many of you have heard so many spiritual topics, even though you've read so many spiritual books, many of you have read so many spiritual books. Oh yes, you have. And even though you speak a lot of spiritual conversations with people, or many people have done that, they speak a lot of spiritual conversations with a lot of people, still, your life is, you cannot tolerate the difficulties of your own life. Even though you've heard so many spiritual topics, you've, spoken so many spiritual conversations with people. When you are speaking with people, you're like, no, I don't want to hear this. You've become even very selective of what you hear. Of what you hear from people. You try as much as you can to run away from any conversation that is not spiritual or that has no God in it. Still, your life is miserable. Miserable. It is still filled with fear. It is still filled with unhappiness. It is still filled with depression, anxiety. Do you know why? The reason why your life is still filled with a lot of unhappiness, sadness, sorrow, misery is because you are trying to look for God in the words of people. You are not trying to look for God outside of the words of people. Do you understand my point? We are still busy trying to look for the divine in the words of people. Either you are trying, when I mean the words of people, I also still mean, the spiritual text, the spiritual literatures. We're still busy trying to look for the divine. The spiritual text and the spiritual literatures are good. They are important. They are the door you need to pass through. The door you need to pass through. To where? To yourself. The spiritual text, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, the Quran, is not the word that takes you to God. It is the door that opens the channel to enter into yourself. Into where? Your own self. For when you've not entered into your own self, when you've not been able to open the door to enter into your own self, then your existence and everything you do becomes a thing of push and pull of emotions, push and pull of so many things. But when you understand that the words are part of the ladder, but not the end, it is not the end, it is the ladder, the door to open, to enter into yourself, into understanding yourself. For every teachings of every spiritual teacher, every teaching of every spiritual person, every spiritual master, or every spiritual leader, is not a teaching of telling you of a universe outside. It's not a teaching of telling you about a universe that is where? That is outside. It is a teaching to tell you how to enter the universe that is inside. But so long as you keep seeing that God is in heaven and you've not yet understood how to enter the universe, the dimension of existence that is inside of you, your life will always still be hanky-panky. You will always be jumping. Hanky-panky, hanky-panky, hanky-panky. For when we say, a lot of people have said, they traveled to a different dimension. They traveled to a different dimension. Of course, indeed, there are dimensions. But these dimensions are all inside of you. There are dimensions that are all inside of you. When Krishna said to Arjuna, a man of true knowledge sees no difference between a dog or a dog eater, between a learned person and a fool. He sees no difference in them. It is basically to let us understand how to see the divine in everybody. How to see the divine in everybody. And to see the divine in everybody, first of all, you must be able to see the divine in yourself. But if you've not seen the divine in yourself and you're trying to look for it outside, you will find nothing. You will find nothing. And that is why I said, you cannot find God using words. You can't. Words are like I said, they are steps, but it is not the end of the steps. They're just steps for you to climb. And until you understand this, until you finally start sitting with yourself, only then will your practice become so beautiful and so nice. And guess what? When you truly start sitting with yourself and your practice start becoming so beautiful, your practice start becoming so nice, you will give it up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Spirituality is a garment people wear. It is not a garment your soul wear. Religiosity is a garment people wear. But it is not a garment that your soul wears. Your soul does not wear the garment of, religion. Neither does your soul wear the garment of spirituality. These are the attributes that people give to themselves in the process of wanting to describe something. You are a spiritual person. Oh, don't you know? You are a spiritual person. So people wear the cloth of spirituality because they believe that spirituality is something super, We have this fantasy of wanting to be a superhero. Everybody. Am I making sense to you? Are you hearing me with intelligence? Sorry, my body is a bit somehow, but I'm trying to speak. Every one of us have this, it is something inside of us of that we want to be heroes. We want to be heroes, supernatural. We have a craving to be supernatural inside of us. And because we have this craving to be supernatural, so we don the garment of spirituality. What is the natural nature of the soul? The natural nature of the soul is immortality. That is the natural nature of the soul. It is immortal. But because we cannot describe it as that, so we say it is spiritual. So when people say I'm spiritual, no, you are not spiritual. You are just wearing the garment of spirituality. Just like I'm wearing this cloth. I'm wearing this cloth. Because I'm wearing this cloth, does it mean that I am this cloth? I am wearing this cloth right now. Does it mean that I am this cloth? No. I am not the cloth. Just like I'm wearing the bead. Does it mean I am the bead? I'm wearing the glass. Does it mean I'm the glass? Now the question is, who is wearing who? Is it the glass that is wearing me, or I am the one that is wearing the glass? Who is wearing who? Is it the cloth that is wearing me, or I am the one that is wearing the cloth? The question is, who is wearing who? So like I said, we have this thing of wanting to be supernatural. We want to be supernatural. Supernatural. You're wearing the glass and the cloth. I'm not wearing the glass, neither am I wearing the cloth. The body is wearing the cloth. The body is wearing the glass. But I'm not wearing any of it. Just like this eyes is the eyes that I use to see. I am seeing with these eyes. But this eyes is not my eye. Can you say this is my eye? Can you really say this is Sukadeva's eye? This eye is what I'm using to see. It is what you are using. Your own eye is what you are using to see me, is it not? But can you say this is your eye? How many of you can say this is my eye? How many of you can say this is my eye? It is not. This is not my eye. Do you know how many eyes I have had? Do you know how many eyes I have had? Do you know how many? Uncountable. Do you know how many body I have worn? Uncountable. This is not my eye. It is borrowed. And because it is borrowed, it will also have to be given back. If it is the eye, then when I'm dead, the eye should follow me. Does the eye follow you when you die? No. It doesn't. Because it is borrowed. And guess what? After the death has happened, then I go and start taking another eye again. And start using another eye. So there is nothing you have that is yours. It is all borrowed. Everything you have is borrowed. Our bodies are vessel. Your body is not a vessel. That is an English word that we use to romanticize. We use that. It's an English word that we use to romanticize what is not romanticizable. Your body is not a vessel. It is a lump of garbage. Whether you want to accept it or you don't want to accept it. Your body is not a vessel. A vessel means it is beautiful. Right? Wow, what a wonderful vessel. It means it is beautiful. Your body is a lump of what? Garbage. And guess what? A lump of pus, mucus, stool, and blood. That is the summary of your body. It's a garbage. So it is the garbage you use. A tool. But the tool is not the essence. It is just the tool. But garment can bring you closer to your destination. Spirituality can make you change how you look. No. Garment cannot take you anywhere. Garment cannot take you anywhere. So, you cannot understand God using words only. It requires you penetrating into those words. For when you use words only, you will only display words to people. There are people that what they do is just only display words. They are just word displayers. That is just it. They just display words of, I'm religious, I'm spiritual, I'm this, I'm that. Word display. Word display. And internally, when there is no words to display, they cannot sit with their own demons. When you are busy only using words to describe God, you cannot sit with your own demons. You cannot sit with your own fears. You cannot sit with your own negative thoughts. You cannot sit with your own jealousy. You cannot sit with your own anxiety. You cannot sit with your own what? Greed, your own anger, your own sensual desires. You cannot sit with it. And that is why when it comes, it overwhelms people because they are so busy using words to describe the divine. They have not really gone through and beyond the words. So saying I'm a spiritual person does not make you a spiritual person. No. Saying I'm a what? Don't you see me? I'm a spiritual person. You're not a spiritual person. You're just using spirituality. Just the garbage of blood, bone, and stool. I just said. That is just it. I wish to go more deeper, but my head I'm having the headache, so I'm going to stop here so I can attend to your question. Maybe I can finish by 3 o'clock. All right. Thank you very much, everybody on Facebook. I have to stop here now. Thank you. Ciao.